Okay, so the idea for today's video reminds me of that Tevin Campbell song. Wasn't it Tevin Campbell who sang, "Can we talk for a minute? Girl, I want to know your name." That is what these perfumes are doing to me. I was thinking of doing like a spring favorites video, but the truth of the matter is I think I've done a couple of those so far, and there are a couple more coming up. The So Avant-Garde sale, my 30% off weekend, again, the third time this year, I'm so excited, is gonna launch on March 28th, Friday, March 28th. So I hope you will tune into the spring recommendations video for that. And then the spring sale recommendations video will be coming up too. That sale is gonna be that first week in April, if I'm not mistaken. I think it starts at the end of the week on a Friday and goes for, I think, 2 weeks. So I will definitely have some recommendations for you for spring in those videos. But today, I wanted to chat about when I walk by my shelves to pick something out. These are giving me the little Tevin Campbell whisper, "Can we talk?" They're like, "Wear me, pick me, choose me. You know I smell good on you. Why are you playing me, girl?" And the reason that I play them is because I have a large collection and I have a channel. And so I want to continuously wear fragrances to share my thoughts with you, particularly in my monthly favorites videos. Or monthly awards is what they're called. All right, enough chatty. Let's get into these fragrances. A few of these do get a lot of playtime, a lot of hype, and I love them anyway. And then a few of these people aren't talking about or not that interested in, and that's okay. This is me sharing with you the ones that sing to me when I walk by, at least right now. I mean, come springtime, well, it is kind of sort of spring by the time you see this video, but come deeper into spring, comes summertime, fall, and winter, there will be different fragrances singing to me as I walk by. All right, let me kick off with a sweetheart for people that are floral lovers and who like a little bit of powderiness. This is 100 Silent Ways from Nishane. I love that right on the placard, it tells you what the primary notes are that the perfumer intended to come forward in the composition: mandarin, tuberose, peach, jasmine, gardenia, orris, vanilla, sandalwood, vetiver. For me, primary players that I pick up is a very soft tuberose, a nice, soft, almost like fluffy peach, a creamy powderiness. I know I use that phrase a lot and people are probably like, is it creamy or is it powdery? And so when I say that, I'm talking about something like an orris note, which has a sort of dense, thicker powderiness to it. So yes, a creamy powderiness. And then I get the sandalwood in the base as well, combined with that vanilla. I find this fragrance overall very soft, inviting, feminine, comforting. It's equal parts cozy sweater weather scent and highest expression of femininity fragrance. And it just never fails. It always smells good on me. I'm always in the mood to wear it. It's a year-round fragrance, although if I had to give it a season for me, maybe in cooler months overall, like not in the dead heat of summer, but any other time of year, this is probably great. Although I think this does well in the summer also. And it is just pretty. It's a pretty girl fragrance. It's pretty like the, pink shirt that I'm wearing, like that kind of feminine energy with some maturity to it because it is a tuberose scent and it's got the beautiful vanilla sandalwood base, which adds a little bit of oomph and maturity to this fragrance. And I just don't get sick of this. This is one of those fragrances. If I had to wear something every day and this was it, I would probably be okay because it smells just that good to me. It is one that had to grow on me. I wasn't crazy about it when I first tried it. I thought it was too soft, and it just was that I went nose blind to the sample. This is one that sticks around for a long time and has beautiful projection. It doesn't fail. It hits on all cylinders every single time I wear it. The next one I enjoyed when I sampled it. I thought it was just fine. And the more I have worn it, the more I have fallen in love with it to the point where it's like we're a little bit ride or die now. This is from Gucci and it's one of the Gucci floral line, Gorgeous Orchid in this banana colored bottle. The thing about this fragrance that is, for me, unique from many of the vanillas on the market is that it has this airy ozonic quality to it that makes it light and bright and beautiful for these days in the spring. I mean, like a picture like a 70 to 75 degree day where the sun is shining. There are very few, if any, clouds in the sky. It's both warm and still a little tiny bit cool at the same time, and you're living your best life. This is the kind of fragrance that comes to mind for me. It's classified as a warm floral. I will tell you that this has deepened up over time. Let me just pause to say something that I have said in other videos, and I think people kind of confuse maceration with maturation of a fragrance. And so, maceration is a process that happens, or should happen anyway, on the perfumer side of things. So when a fragrance house creates a fragrance, they have a number of different methods they can use to macerate a perfume, which means it gives an opportunity for whatever base ingredients they use, like a perfumer's alcohol or something like that, and any other fragrance oils that were added to create the fragrance, the formula. It gives the formula an opportunity for all of the ingredients in it to sort of gel together into one and kind of bind to each other, if that makes sense. And maybe that's not the right chemical terminology, but that's the idea of maceration. It can take anywhere from like a week or so up to 4 weeks and so forth. There are different ways to do it. Maturation happens as a fragrance ages, and oftentimes, particularly fragrances that have notes in them like vanilla or patchouli, or maybe even like some of the woody notes or amber, any of your sort of heavier base notes, the fragrance kind of like thickens a little bit in texture and deepens in the tones of the fragrance. And that has happened with this one to the point where I just adore this so much. In fact, friends, stay with me for a second. These two could be good friends because they both have this sort of warm, maybe even creamy kind of quality to them, whereas this one stays a little bit heavier of a fragrance and more traditional in the vanilla sandalwood combo. This one is a little bit more modern with the additional sort of airiness of it. It sits a little bit higher in the atmosphere, almost like a hot air balloon, okay? And maybe this is like a Led Zeppelin. I don't think they're called Led Zeppelins, excuse me, that's the band, a Zeppelin balloon, that goes up in the air. So this one's a little bit higher. Anyway, this is still warm and beautiful and vanillic and floral. It has just the most gentle floral tones in it. And I love that it's also bright and airy for this time of year as it's warming up. Just gorgeous. I meant to tell you all what my scent of the day is, and it's kind of like a preview to what's coming in that So Avant-Garde video. It's not part of this lineup. It is still calling to me, but that's probably because it's new and I'm a little infatuated with what I have discovered. So I'll just quickly preview one of the scents that I'm going to talk about in the So Avant-Garde sale. Secret Gardenia from Miller Harris. I stumbled upon it as I was searching through the So Avant-Garde site to figure out what did I want to buy in my own sale, because I shop my own sales. Of course, I shop everybody's sales and I shop my own too. And this is one of the happiest, most sunny gardenia scents. I mean, when you think about gardenia and tuberose and florals like that, they're typically accompanied by other florals to kind of make up the scent that you get as the gardenia. Anyway, see, I told you I was going to be quick. It's beautiful. Let's talk about this on March 28th. Fantastic. I'm fully obsessed with this next perfume. I think I've given it maybe a couple of full day wears and I'm constantly sniffing it, spraying a little bit on my wrist as I walk by, thinking about wearing it to bed. I have had the opportunity to smell this on someone else and fell in love with it on them. Smells completely different on them. This is from Phlur and it's Vanilla Skin. It is currently my favorite from Phlur and I've tried a bunch. I mean, I've been rocking with Phlur since they had the old bottles, the square architectural ones with the, roundish white caps. And then they switched to this bottle which originally, what's going on with my hair, y'all? I try to look cute for y'all, I promise. And then my hair just decides that it wants to have its own party. Let us move on. Okay. I originally did not like these bottles just from the pictures. I thought, what have they done? Because I liked the original white square bottle. But let me tell you something. I have to say that every single time I say, let me tell you something. And yes, for the person that asked in the last video, that is absolutely Fire Marshal Bill. Long live Jim Carrey, long live In Living Color, long live the 80s and the early 90s. Back to Vanilla Skin. This, I do like these bottles. So let me just push it up close here. You can see that Phlur is stamped on the top. And look, in the manufacturing process of bottles, that adds extra cost when things are stamped in. And it's a simplistic amber bottle, which is very nice, but it's a nice weighty little bottle. And I do appreciate that the wording is printed right on the bottle as opposed to a sticker. Nothing wrong with a sticker. Some of the ones you'll see coming up have a sticker and I'm okay with that. I just really like this bottle. Okay, the keynotes, according to Sephora anyway, sugar crystals, cashmere wood, and vanilla. There is this very comforting warmth to this fragrance that is just intoxicating to me. It feels like a Your Skin but better scent. It almost feels like you've sprayed yourself down with vanilla extract. It has dried on you, so just the lovely aroma of a thick vanilla is coming up. And then you've hugged someone and the warmth of your hug has evolved the perfume into something even better. I just really, really enjoy this. On the woman that I smelled it on, I got more woody facets and something airy, like almost like a saffron kind of airiness that was interesting. I don't think this smells like that on me. This, as I've worn it more, has more decent longevity than when I first tried it. I would say about a half day's wear, maybe a little bit more, and it stays nice and close to the skin. So it's an intimate fragrance. And then some people really like the body mist, which I enjoy as well. And sometimes I just layer these as I walk by and sniff. I'll spray this and then, put that on top of it. And so this is very similar. They're almost identical smells. I would say the vanilla skin body spray maybe is a tiny bit sweeter. This does have some sweetness to it, but it's not in any way sickeningly sweet. It's just like the right amount of just a sweet, warm hug. I love you, vanilla skin, and I love you too, but I love you more. I like the perfume more than the spray, but they're both really fantastic. And in fairness, some people prefer this more. So that's why I wanted to share that. Most of these fragrances, I'm realizing, have some kind of cozy factor for me, with the exception of maybe 3 that I'm going to talk about. And this one is no different. So speaking of In Living Color and Fire Marshal Bill, one of my favorite characters on the show is Benita Bottrell, who is played by one of the Wayans sisters. And for those of you that watched In Living Color, she was the woman that sat in the window of her apartment. And she had rollers in her hair usually, and she pretended to be really nice to everybody walking by. Hey, Joni, how's your daughter? How's your mom and them? Y'all, tell your mama I said hello. And then she'll turn around and look at the camera and go, let me tell you about so-and-so. But then she also had characters that she had a certain affinity for, and she wouldn't let anybody talk about them. And she would look at the camera and go, don't nobody talk about, Miss So-and-so. That's how I feel about this next fragrance, because it has been hated on. It's one of those things that you either love or you hate. Don't nobody talk about my Love Delight from Amouage. It smells like the color of this bottle. It almost looks on screen like it's a little suede, and it's not, but it has a cool texture, like this, I don't know, very sort of soft, like a faux velvet, even though there isn't anything on this that is velvety at all. In fact, you can maybe see a little bit of it's a very flat surface is what I'm getting at. Let me pause there. This smells, in the background of this fragrance, I smell something in the neighborhood of a warm bun fresh out of the oven, like fresh bread. On the surface of that, there's a little bit of fresh Play-Doh, which I like. There's certain kinds of Play-Doh smells and some that I don't enjoy. If it's more like a dried Play-Doh smell, then it can just smell stale. But if it's a fresh Play-Doh, y'all know what I'm talking about. When you first peel back the top of the Playboy, the Play-Doh container, and it's all fresh and still damp in there, the concoction that makes up the Play-Doh, I like that smell. And I get bread and the Play-Doh smell in here, the fresh Play-Doh. And then it has some beautiful, soft, floral, and slightly spicy notes. Some folks pick up a distinct ginger. I know that the ginger is what's giving this a little bit of spiciness along with some cinnamon. Neither of those are very pronounced to me. And I have to say they're not very distinct. I think together they form this sort of bright, very, very slight, delicate spiciness in the fragrance. There's also mandarin, heliotrope, vanilla. It says cocoa. I don't feel like I get any sort of chocolate. Rum Absolute, also don't get that. I get what I told you. Bread, fresh Play-Doh, something beautifully floral and soft and sweet. And I mean sweet as in like feminine sweet, not like gourmand sweet. And just that delicate spiciness that makes this one of the most interesting and comforting yet feminine, delicate fragrances in my collection. And I think the bottle and the color and all of it is just gorgeous. There are 3 Bond No. 9 fragrances that are really calling to me and singing me that Tevin Campbell song as I walk by, especially as it starts to warm up right now. And those 3 are New York Flowers, that has the beautiful sort of Easter-looking flowers on it, the white bottle with the flowers on them. And then Astor Place, that has the really interesting geometric design on there that you either love or you hate, and the one I'm going to talk with you about. But I didn't want to put all 3 in the video. In fact, many of my Bond No. 9s are calling to me this time of year. Those 3 in particular because of their floral beauty. But the one I want to share with you is New York Gardenia, which was released last year. I think it was the top of last year, wasn't it? Like spring of 2024. And I was hoping, if you remember, if you've been with me for a while, that this wouldn't be a sticker and that the actual floral petals would be raised up on the bottle. That's okay. It's a sticker on the front and a sticker on the back, and the petals are raised up, but it's not in the bottle design. That's all right. Love this beautiful coloring on this. This is one of the more realistic gardenias. So I've mentioned before that we have gardenia bushes in our front yard. I love when they bloom. They are so creamy and dreamy. Creamy, dreamy floral. I mean, if I could do like a solar note fragrance, I might make it gardenia. I love tuberose too, but if I had to choose one note, Gardenia, when it's blooming, the amazing just depth and creaminess of it. And it's like a fresh creaminess. And it's also just the most beautiful white floral in many ways. I adore it. But it's a really difficult fragrance to create in perfumes, as is tuberose in some ways. And I believe that, anyway, I won't get into all of the making of it. Let's go to this fragrance. So it's gardenia, and it also has some other florals in it. I don't remember the florals exactly, but I want to say it has a little bit of like a rosy or peony type of nuance. It's fresh, maybe even a slight tiny bit soapy way in the background. And then it has vanilla in the base. I want to say there's something woody in the base too, although it doesn't say it in the note structure of the fragrance. And I think this is one of the prettiest florals for this time of year. If you haven't checked this out and you are a white floral lover, which I am, it's one of my primary categories, that like my go-to categories when I don't know what to wear, as well as the sort of comforting second skin types of fragrances. Give this one a sniff. It's typically on JOMASHOP. By the way, of course, everything will be linked down in the description box if you're interested in checking these out. I don't know where you can get a sample of this other than maybe the Bond No. 9 site itself, but you can search for that. Maybe JOMASHOP has samples too. I don't know. Speaking of comforting fragrances, I'll go back to one that's in the gourmand direction. Vanilla Haze from Fugazzi. Ooh, this is freaking good. I mentioned when I first reviewed this that it reminded me very much of creme brulee from Theodoros Kalatinis, but I like this even better. And I like creme brulee a lot also. But this one is even like more wearable. It's both gourmand and has a slight like perfumey touch. I feel like this fragrance smells very, very much like pure creme brulee cream. So when you first break through the hard exterior, you know, the caramelized and hardened sugar that's on top, and you get into the cream, it's a creamy smelling fragrance. It smells very vanillic, and it smells like it's vanilla mixed with an ooey gooey caramel. And I think it's beautiful. It's got some complex notes, including some nutty notes as well. But the primary things I pick up are vanilla and caramel, a tiny bit of muskiness. And then I know it has other notes to add some brightness, like some citrusy types of notes and that sort of thing. This is so delightful. So delightful. I have not gotten rid of my creme brulee yet because I literally just purchased it last year. They're so similar, and I prefer this one, that I may sell the creme brulee one. I'm not sure. I have to try it out again. It also reminds me a little bit of Hufflepuff from House of Sillage, and imagine adding some depth and creaminess and caramel to that, and you might get a sense of what this one is like. This is a pretty special fragrance, in my opinion, if you are a gourmand lover. I am not, but I do enjoy a good gourmand, and this is one of them. I keep trying to put y'all on to this next scent. Those of you that have tried this or purchased it, you know. It's one of those if you know fragrances. This does not get the hype that it deserves. And it is, to me, the definition of heaven in a bottle. This is Widian Rose Arabia White. This full bottle, this is 100 mils. It goes for $185. There are a ton of notes in here. However, they amount to a very tenderly sweet, not like candy sweet, but like an ethereal sweet, soft, pillowy, musky, delicate floral fragrance. It is like the most tender clouds were sprinkled with something a little bit sweet, and like angelic flowers were thrown in there. And it created this concoction called Rose Arabia White. One of those fragrances that every time I sniff it, I'm obsessed, like all over again, obsessed. You know how you love like a song? You know you love it, but you haven't heard it in a long time. And when it comes back on the radio, it lights you up head to toe because you just adore it. That's how I feel when I sniff this fragrance. One of the most beautiful fragrances in the entire world, and definitely in the Widian lineup. Fantastic. Soft, delicate, feminine, fluffy. Has a little bit of creaminess to it as well. And just delicate, sweet florals in a cloud of heaven. In a cloud of heaven. Definitely a must try. Now, I know there are some of you out there that are just as obsessed with this next fragrance as I am. Raise your hands if you're one of them. This is from Ledda. It is, what is the number on here? 20 Bourbon Brulee, 20 Bourbon Brulee. She has 4 fragrances out. She is a YouTuber. She's over in sort of the makeup and hair products and all of that space, but she's been reviewing fragrances for quite a long time. And this is her 4th one and is perfection. I have them all and I think they're all really beautiful. This here, if you're a gourmand lover that wants a little bit more depth perhaps than some of the typical gourmands out on the market have, this is beautiful. It's boozy. I believe the alcohol note is whiskey. There's caramel. For me, it smells a little bit coconutty, and it's like the deepest, darkest vanilla essence that has aged. Vanilla, what do you call it? It's not essence, extract, vanilla extract that has aged. and it's really, really good, like high quality vanilla extract. This is deep, this is boozy. It's very sexy, very alluring. Beautiful, beautiful for particularly fall as you start to crave those sort of warm, cozy scents. It's warm and cozy and gourmand, but it has some edge from the booziness and it has some edibleness from that caramel and coconut mixture here. Really, really good if you ask me. And one that I think continues to evolve and get even better and deeper as it sits in my collection. The last two call to me, particularly because they are beautiful bottles with also beautiful scents in them, but they are primarily eye-catching, singing to me because of the bottle shapes. And so CASHMERE and Palo Santo from Donna Karan. I have not tried the new vanilla essence one, and it is on my list to try. And knowing me, I will likely be prone to blind buying it in a Macy's sale or something like that. I think a lot of folks in the audience have tried this or own this and like it, and then some people just didn't get along with it. It's definitely like this, like a woody vanilla with a little bit of that Palo Santo. Palo Santo and sandalwood have some similarities to them. I think Palo Santo tends to be a gentler note, a more sort of tolerable note for people that pick up the pickle in sandalwood. And so Palo Santo is sometimes used in like incense types of rituals to cleanse houses and things like that, ward off evil spirits and all of that. But it is just a very pleasant, almost like incensey woody smell, along with that vanilla. And I want to say there's something slightly spicy, like maybe pepper, maybe black pepper or something like that in the fragrance. And this bottle is so lovely to hold. It reminds me of the Cosmic bottle from Kylie Jenner, although this is even more sophisticated. And look at that thick base on it. And these caps, beautiful, beautiful, magnetic. The whole thing is just interesting and unique and a lovely, lovely fragrance, a very sort of versatile fragrance for people that like woody vanilla fragrances. Really, really good. And then I'm going to close out with a bottle that no one is talking about. Do y'all just not like this? And am I crazy for loving it? I think it is so beautiful, both the bottle and the scent inside. And friends, this is an actual unique offering on the market. There isn't much out there that even is reminiscent of this. This is from Tory Burch and it's called Sublime. It's got the lettering there on the top. It's got the Tory Burch symbol affixed to this sphere here. I think this is fantastic. It is not going to be for most, okay? But it is crowd pleasing for those of you that are daring to wear this. It has this very subtle, tender, clean, leathery background, way in the background. Well, maybe not way in the background, like there in the background. It is the background of the fragrance. There's this like almost like a clean metallic nature in the middle. And I believe it's citrus and perhaps a floral or two at the top. And what it comes across as is like a powerhouse of a fragrance, particularly for this time of year. I think this is a year-round fragrance because it has a little bit of depth to it that I think would perform well in cold weather. But this is the kind of fragrance that's going to leave an intoxicating trail behind you because it's different, it's unique, it's a tiny bit of leather, like I mentioned, and this bright sort of citrusy metallic blast that is fresh and unique, yet commanding and bold and powerful. This is fantastic. Give this a sniff. Check it out if you haven't already and if you have daring taste. You know, if you want to be predictable, and I don't mean that in a bad way at all, but if you want to be predictable in your fragrances and you only like certain types, this may not be one that would interest you. But you know who you are over there in the back. I'm tapping you on the shoulder, the person with the bold taste who wants something different. You want to smell not like everybody else. Apart from the crowd, unique and noticed for your scent. Give Sublime a go. Do I have the travel spray in here? No, I moved it back into my bedroom. The travel spray is super cute and has this little kind of top on it. I mean, it's mini, but precious. So friends, those are the fragrances that are giving me the Tevin Campbell eyeball and song. I really love all of these, and I have to prevent myself from reaching for them more than I reach for any other fragrance, because I want to give everybody in my fragrance shelves a chance. They all deserve love. So let me know your thoughts on these fragrances. Do you have an obsession with any of these? Do you give folks the Benita Betrell treatment if they try to talk bad about one of your fragrances? Let me know what those are in the comments. I will see you in the next video. Don't miss out on that So Avant-Garde sale, and don't miss out on the Sephora sale. Of course, that's if you're shopping for fragrances, friends. Those of you that are on a no-buy or not shopping, you can ignore those videos or just come have a cup of coffee with me, give it a thumbs up, and enjoy the reviews. Hope to see you there. Take care, friends.